Hey there, and welcome to Thousand Ant. I'm Matt Schell, and in this video, I want to talk about a topic that we see coming up on certain internet game development forums and communities, which is revenue share projects. Let's get started. So this was a topic that was suggested by one of our community members in the YouTube comments. Thank you very much for the suggestion. I think it's a great idea. And I think that the reason that this is relevant is that this is a kind of a business mistake that a lot of beginners make, right? So this is a kind of a beginner business question. And I want to offer a few kind of pointers about the do's and don'ts here, mostly don'ts, spoilers. I don't recommend taking this approach. And then I'm going to offer you some alternate approaches that I think meet some of the goals without having some of the same problems. The first issue with this is if you are trying to make a game on a revenue share basis, there's almost never a contract or a company set up. The reason that this is important is that all of the things and work that are being made need to be assigned to one entity, so that if somebody leaves or at any event that there's a disagreement about which way development should continue or not continue, or who has the right to use the characters, or can you still use the art after so-and-so has left the project, that will all be resolved in the operating agreement of the company. If it's, for example, a limited liability company, an LLC in the United States, and there's similar business structures around the world. This is important because when you're working on an unfunded project, right? Remember, this is a revenue share project because there is no money, right? We're making a promise that we are gonna pay people Tuesday for a hamburger today, right? Likelihood that somebody, or let's say everybody who contributes to the project is gonna follow through and go all the way to the finish is incredibly low. Right? Maybe some people are just doing it for fun. They come in for a month, or they contribute some artwork or some game design or whatever it is, and then they drift off, they get another job, they start university, whatever happens, right? Life happens and they're gone. Well, what do we do with their work? How is their contribution accounted for, right? Well, if you have a company, it's clear the work has been assigned to the company. Maybe in that agreement that you made with them, there's some agreement about how they're gonna get paid in the future, but at the very least, you don't end up with a situation where so-and-so left, their work is in an ambiguous situation, we don't know if we can release it or not, are they gonna sue us if we try to release it? Is there an argument, is there a disagreement, right? It can all get super messy and the project can fall apart, and you kind of end up with a bunch of mismatched pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that can't be put together because there's no legal framework in place. The second issue is basically that people are trying to make projects that are too big or that they are not skilled enough to make, right? And that's why they think, I know the solution, I'm gonna go find a bunch of other people and get them to bring in the skills that I don't have. First of all, this is just a classic beginner mistake in that beginners are always trying to make something that's too big because their sources of inspiration are commercial video games, right? So they're like, I just played Death Stranding. I love Death Stranding. I love Hideo Kojima. I want to do Death Stranding, but X, Y, and Z are different, and it's going to be amazing. I've got such a good idea. Wow, you know. But of course, they don't understand how many millions of dollars, how many hundreds of people, how many years of work went into that, and they've got 3 people working for free remotely via the internet, and it's just never going to happen, right? So the important thing that I think is kind of hidden behind this idea to do revenue share is people are trying to do projects that are too big. My first advice is just do a project by yourself that you can actually do yourself with whatever skills you have. If you don't have any skills, then you're what we call an idea man, basically the worst type of person in these communities, right? Who's coming up with an idea and trying to get people to bring their idea to life for free, and everybody run away from this person. And if you are this person, go learn yourself some hard skills so that you can contribute either with art or programming or music or something. Ideas are not in and of themselves a useful contribution unless you also bring your ideas with money to pay people to do the things that you don't know how to do. The third thing I think that's important here is just the idea of marketing. right? You are talking about paying people to do free work, right? Work that's free now and that's going to be paid later. Well, who's going to do the marketing? What is the marketing plan? Almost nobody wants to do marketing work for free, right? Marketing work is commercial work, and that if you're good at it, you can go and get paid to do it in a whole bunch of places because it helps companies to make money and to sell things. And so it's really unlikely that somebody is going to want to join your team and do marketing work for free, which means that your game is probably going to be badly marketed, which means that you're going to have a really low kind of multiplier value of your marketing, and you're not going to sell that many copies, right? The better approach to this, which actually kind of cuts this knot in half, is to make your game for free, right? You're like, whoa, wait a minute, but I want to make money. Making your game for free is actually probably a better investment long-term in your future ability to make money. And let me explain why. One, you cut away all of this legal question of like who owns the rights to this and that, and did we form an LLC and did we make contracts? You all just agree, hey, we're gonna make this for free together, put it out for free on the internet. This is probably one of the few cases, I mean, ideally you would do a contract for this and say, hey, we're this team, we're working together, this is everybody's rights and responsibilities and so on. But if you don't, you put it out for free, it's not the end of the world as long as everybody agrees about how everybody's going to be credited and all that kind of stuff, right? Because the primary purpose of it is to get visibility for the contributors, for the people who made the game together, and to build your profile for future projects, right? The reason you're on an internet forum looking for either free work or looking to potentially contribute free work is because you don't have a network, you don't have any profile in the scene, nobody's asking you to work on projects with them, right? And that's because nobody knows who you are. So by making a game for free and putting some time into it and having a team and making something really good, you have the chance to get that kind of first round of visibility, have people know who you are, have people say, oh yeah, you're the people who made that little game that was really interesting and creative. Yeah, I know who you are, cool. You know, hey, why don't you come and interview at our company, or why don't you come and contribute as a freelance contractor to this project, right? So it kind of jumps you over that first hurdle of, oh, I don't have anything in my portfolio, I don't have any connections, nobody knows who I am. Well, if you've made that first game, you won't need to be messing around with these revenue share projects the way a lot of kind of outsider beginners are. It's also easier from a marketing perspective, right? Because it's free. There's a very low barrier to adoption. You're not saying, hey, pay $10 to find out that this game is not good. You're saying, hey, give me a couple minutes of your time, download this thing, check out this video before you download it to see that it looks like fun, download it, spend a little bit of time playing it, and if you enjoy it, you know, follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my YouTube or whatever it is, right? Join my email list. Doing a game for free also has this kind of natural scope limiting factor, right? Because now we're not going to pretend that we're going to make $1 million, in which case maybe it does make sense to work for a year for free, right? We all kind of know, yeah, this is a free thing. Our goal is to kind of get some attention and exposure, right? This is kind of the only time you should work for exposure. You hear people saying, yeah, work for exposure. You're creating your own exposure, right? You don't need to work for somebody else to get exposure. You can create your own exposure by making your own cool free project, right? And if somebody is making a free game, that is actually probably one of the only cases where I would say somebody says, hey, we need an artist to join this project. It's free. We're going to try to get some attention around it, and you're going to get some exposure for it. That's probably the only case where working for exposure I think is actually valid, right? You're all doing a free kind of portfolio piece together that you really believe in that's going to be hopefully great, and you're all going to get some recognition out of it, and nobody is going to sell it and make money off of your hard work without paying you. In short, right, in summary, don't do revenue share projects. They're legally unsound. They're not going to hold up over time. People are going to drift off. They're not going to finish. You're not going to finish the game, and you're going to try to make something too big. And instead, what you should do is small free projects. You can do them through game jams. You can do them just one game a month. You can do them in a whole bunch of different ways and frameworks. You can just get a team together and say, hey, we're going to take a month or 2 weeks or whatever it is, or a weekend, and make this project together. But there's this natural scope limiting on the fact that, hey, we know this is free, it's a small project, it's for exposure, it's a portfolio piece, and we're trying to get attention for it. We're not trying to sell it, but we do want to make something cool, right? And I think this is a much better approach to the kind of problem that revenue share projects solve, which is, hey, we've got a bunch of beginners, we're all outsiders, we don't really know anybody, nobody is inviting us into the industry, we want to get in. What's the only thing we have to contribute? Our free labor, right? Well, put that all together and make something that belongs to you guys and market it for free, and then you can actually kind of make yourself a little stepping stone and calling card portfolio piece that can help you to, you know, get that first step going in your career. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested to get more kind of tips about the business of games, and also Unity development and programming tips from our partner channel, Infallible Code, join the Level 2 Game Dev mailing list, which is in the description below. We've also just announced our first paid course, which is going to be coming out early next year. I'm super excited about that. It's Unity Fundamentals for software developers. We've just announced that over on the Infallible Code channel. Check it out. And as always, if you are enjoying the content, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're not already, and leave me a comment. What do you think about this? Is this good advice for beginners? Would you do something different? Let me know. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.